channel is about becoming what you must become. And if you guys are absolutely passionate about that and you're like me, where you don't want to compromise, you don't want to be some of the sheeple, you want to be one of the main people who actually leaves a huge dent in this universe with this life they've been given. If you want that and you want these tips on how to get better and better and better, this is one of them that is so important. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Must Become YouTube channel. My name is Spencer, and today we're going to be talking about why I don't love nighttime routines. So with that said, guys, if you guys like any of the content, please give me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe, especially if you want to see more content, because I would hate for a perfect video to come out for you that you need right now in your life and you miss it because the algorithm doesn't feed it to you. And it can do that if you subscribe right now. So click that button below. Let's get right into this video. So today's a little bit of a ramble, as a lot of them normally are. I wanted to talk a little bit about why I don't love nighttime routines. These pop up everywhere on YouTube and on Twitter and all these different places that you're interested in seeing kind of how to increase productivity or anything like that in your life. And routines in general are a great idea, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I don't love nighttime routines. So I think the best way to do that is to start by actually telling you why I do love morning routines. I really do believe that in the morning, there's kind of a few interesting things that are going on with your brain. I think first of all, you're stocked up on dopamine. So dopamine, guys, is obviously that neurotransmitter in the brain that is associated with reward and motivation and these sorts of things. And it's very important to use that dopamine for the most important task of the day. And if you do that in the morning and that's part of your automatic routine that you don't need to think about, you don't need to plan, it's just immediate. You just know you get up and you go bang, 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 you hit every single thing. That's one reason why I do love morning routines. And remember, guys, this is all in the context of why I don't love night routines. The second thing, like I've spoken about in a past video, is that I really, really do believe that when you're tired and groggy, a lot of people have a negative association with that feeling and they're like, oh, I can't get anything done, I'm too tired, I'm too groggy. But I really do see that as an opportunity to trick the brain into being able to do things that are really difficult, and your brain doesn't really get an opportunity to argue with you. It's not saying, oh, like maybe I should just not do X or not do Y. It'd be a little easier if I didn't get up and go to the gym. It'd be a little easier if I didn't grind an hour or two of my business. I could just stay in my warm bed and whatever. But when you're tired, it's a little easier to just get started and get them going. That combination of that dopamine, like I just mentioned, but also the fact that you're kind of a little groggy and it's harder to convince yourself out of things if you just get up and go. It's the same way that if you want to work out one day, you might want to put your shoes at the end of your bed the night before, so that when you get up, you can just slip those on. You're already in them. Half the battle's already done. Now just get to the gym. Anyway, guys, the first one was dopamine. The second one was using that kind of grogginess to your advantage. And the third thing is that if you're an early riser like me, I normally get up sometime between really, really early, maybe about 2:45 to 3 a.m. Between then and somewhere like 4 or 5 a.m. That's normally when I get up and I start my morning routine right away before I can get to work. That just makes me feel like I'm getting a lot of things done in the day, which are really, really awesome. And I get that sense of accomplishment early, which is actually the next thing, that early sense of accomplishment. So even Jordan Peterson talks about how one of the first things you want to do is get up, make your bed, so you start your day with that early win. And I totally agree with him there. I do think it's important to start with early wins. And when you have these early morning routine that just gets you doing things, awesome. Then you have all the sense of accomplishment to move in to your next thing, and that momentum carries over with it. I think there's probably one more thing that I really enjoy about morning routines, and that's just that no one's awake. There's no distractions. So I can just get up and do my stuff. I have an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, to do what I have to do. Notifications that are coming through to your phone. There's nothing that you're kind of having FOMO about. Whatever it is, a lot of times you can avoid that in the morning with a few of those little things that I mentioned earlier. Now we can begin to transition over to the other side, and we can talk about why I don't love nighttime routines. A lot of these are the opposites of the reasons why I do love morning routines. The first thing, again, is the dopamine factor. When it's time to get to your nighttime routine, whatever that is, especially if it's too large of a routine, it's very difficult to convince yourself to do it. So I used to have this routine where I was studying a language, I was working out, I was meditating, I was doing all these things, which a lot of them I still do. I just have to rearrange them in my life and rearrange them in priority, because the reality is, if you leave things to the end of the day, that's not your highest priority, because guess what? You don't have that much dopamine. You're not gonna have that much motivation in your body. And maybe you're incredibly disciplined, which is amazing. I preach that in some other videos, like right here, where I talk about this is what hard feels like. That's a great video to go and watch. But the issue is that you have no more dopamine. So when it comes time to you're winding down, you're like, hey, before I go to bed, I'm starting my nighttime routine. It's a 4-hour routine. I'm gonna go to the gym, come back, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna learn my language for an hour, whatever it is. That's very, very challenging, especially when you consider that the idea of a routine is to be automatic and regular. But you can't regularly rely on yourself to always do difficult things at the end of the day once you've already expended all your dopamine on a million other things. Number 2, everyone's awake. At nighttime, everyone is awake, generally speaking. It's very difficult to get some time, some peace and quiet to yourself. It's very difficult to make sure you commit to the actual thing that you said you were going to do. Too many people are awake, too much stuff is going on, and you're fighting a battle on 2 fronts. The first front is you have your fear of missing out, which is other people reaching in and saying, hey, here's what you gotta do, here's what I want you to do, etc., etc., etc. That is difficult. But the other front you're fighting is with yourself. It's that, like I said before, you don't have much energy, much motivation, and your discipline's probably wearing thin by the end of the day, because if you're anything like me or anyone else who watches this channel, you obviously are grinding pretty hard in the day, most days, and so you're leaving what you have out on the field. It's very difficult to come home and then apply that same 110% effort to these routine things that you have to accomplish. So the third reason why I do not like nighttime routines is, generally speaking, with nighttime routines, when you go to bed may fluctuate. And so the actual ability to get all those things done kind of moves up and down. For example, if your gym or exercise or stretching or whatever part of your routine falls in the evening, then that might be hard if you get home from work and it's maybe 10 p.m. It's very difficult to say, okay, well, I'm going to now go to the gym. That's very challenging. It's very difficult to rely on yourself to make sure that you actually do that every single day. Similarly is when you want to meditate. Meditation is part of your routine and you're going to bed, let's say at midnight or 1 a.m. And I've been in these circumstances. So I know from experience, take it from me, that you're not going to want to meditate. And if you do, it's going to be next to useless because you're going to put yourself to sleep. So guys, really, I would recommend that you use these things in the morning routine and not the nighttime routine. Now, there are a couple arguments for why I prefer morning routines over night routines. Generally speaking, though, they have to do with scheduling, reliability, dopamine, focus, energy, all these sorts of things. It's also guaranteeing that you get these automatic things out of the way before the variability of the day comes in. So I've kind of hinted at it a couple times, but you just don't know what's gonna happen to you that day. You don't know who's gonna need you. You don't know when they're gonna need you. You don't know what you're gonna have to do, especially if you're running a business, anything like that, starting a large project. It's difficult to know who's gonna need what. So if you just get up and do the stuff you have to do before the variability of the day begins, you're on a great track. You might be thinking, well, I could have both routines. I could have a morning routine and a nighttime routine, and my nighttime routine doesn't need to be super, super long or anything like that. And that's fine if you want to do it that way. What I'm talking about when I talk about routines is really the automatic large rocks that you want to be moving every day in your life, so that as the clock inevitably ticks, you're building these things up and up and up. You hear people complain about how they don't have any time. And what does that suggest? It suggests that time moves quickly, especially as you get older. I'm 27, I'm soon to be 28. And what I've realized is that's super true. That old trope about how time moves faster as you get older, super true. The thing is that if you continue to do these automatic things every single day, so you're going to the gym, you're practicing your language, you're meditating, practicing gratitude, you're eating well, you're stretching, all these amazing things, whatever it is, as time goes faster and faster and faster and the days start slipping by, what you begin to realize after a couple of weeks, couple of months, especially a couple of years, is that every single day that I've put in work to my automatic routine, I've actually been growing and growing and growing, and all these days that are going faster and faster are actually working for me. What's happening is that progress is actually moving faster and faster and faster and faster. My point is that if you every single day slot in a building block to that place that you want to be in 5-10 years, when that 5-10 years rolls around, which won't be that long based on your current perception of time, boom, your routine has helped you become this person in a way faster time than you ever expected. That's why it's so essential that you do your routine every day. And that's the whole point of this video, is that I believe that if you do that in the evening, the increased variability, the lower dopamine, the ability to talk yourself out of it, all of these things makes it more and more difficult. But if you do it in the morning, when you have everything stacked for you, not against you, you're actually very likely to end up being that person. You're gonna see that you're on track for that before you even realize it. In conclusion, I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit like I always do, but guys, the main sort of reason why I like morning routines is the ability to control what happens in the morning, and you get to choose how you spend your morning. You get to choose what happens in your routine, because the factors that will take you away from it are fewer. On the other hand, why I don't like nighttime routines, because again, you don't know what the day is gonna hold, and it becomes less likely as a whole that those things get done. So just keep in mind, guys, that I'm not saying that it's the end of the world if you have a nighttime routine. I'm just saying that you're more likely to get there if you do it in the morning. And this whole channel is about becoming what you must become. And if you guys are absolutely passionate about that and you're like me, where you don't want to compromise, you don't want to be some of the sheeple, you want to be one of the main people who actually leaves a huge dent in this universe with this life they've been given. If you want that and you want these tips on how to get better and better and better, this is one of them that is so important. Take control. Once you have your routine and you've decided what you want to be in that routine and how that's going to lead you into the future to becoming a better and better and better guy, then you take your time of day that's most likely to have those things accomplished, which in my mind is the morning, not the evening, and you do them then. So guys, I'm gonna leave that video there. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Spencer from the Must Become YouTube channel. If you like this video, please leave me a like. It just lets me know that you enjoyed the video and I can make more of this kind of content. It also pushes it out to others who might find this valuable if they too are also really passionate about becoming what they must become. Secondly, please subscribe. I would hate for you guys to miss a video that's really important that I think you should see. And third, please leave me a comment. I love speaking with you guys. I love hearing you guys' feedback. I love getting suggestions about anything you guys want me to talk about. And it just makes it a lot more fun, a lot more interactive. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.